All right, hello and welcome everyone. Doug here with thelincolnlist.com. I want to welcome you back to another weekly edition of Stock Market Mutterings. Well, I will take a grope in this murkiness, and I'll try to find you some great trade setups and help you make a little bit of money throughout the week. As always, if you need help with your trading, feel free to visit us at thelincolnlist.com. Click on the Trade Room tab and trade live with us every week. So I kind of want to start out by saying I'm going to eat a little crow. I'm going to put the crow on the spoon and I'm going to chomp on it. Because I was wrong. My crystal ball went nuts. If you remember last week, this is what I said last week. I will say this. If you go back to that 200, man, look the F out. Get out. That's right. I thought for sure if we got back down to the 200-day moving average that we would just collapse this time because, you know, if you look at the daily chart down below, we've hit that about what looks like about 8 times. And, you know, every time it bounces off of it, but never really with any authority, and then it just continues to rotate lower. Every breakout, every momentum that has been going on for the last couple of weeks, completely sold off. And then you get down in there Monday, and it just hits it, and then it just feels like, not Monday, excuse me, on Thursday. Then Friday comes around, and you're like, we're going back down there again, and then it just took off. Now, there are two things both happened here on Thursday and Friday that were different than the other time. Now, obviously, like I said last week, I'm not going to be upset if I'm wrong. I don't make money by predictions. I deal with the market every day and I trade it every day. But I thought you'd have a little comedy with that. Anyway, there were two things that were different about this time. It came off of the bottom, especially on Friday, with a vengeance. Like it was 2017 all over again. I mean, this thing just ripped and ripped. And if you look down at the chart here, it's damn near back up to the 50. So I was thinking, are we going to go from the 200 to the 50 all in one day? Now, as we progress forward, that's all we can deal with. We can't deal with what happened in the past, whatever it is, it is. What are we going to do now as we progress through next week? And you got to kind of think here that maybe this 50 moving average gets tested yet again. You know, still we haven't been able to stay above that for very long. So right now that is it. We're just stuck between 50 and 200, back and forth, back and forth. Now eventually one of these will give way permanently. I shouldn't say permanently. I should say for a longer period of time. Either we'll go back down underneath of that 200 moving average and continue to rotate down into April lows here of 255.17 and even the initial pullback of February down into those levels of the mid 253s. But it still seems like the market is hell-bent on defending that because this, like, you know, the last time we bounced off it was like, okay, you know, and it did rally a little bit, got back up to the 50 and then, you know, kind of rolled over. But Friday, this thing just nonstop, pedal to the metal, straight through 2017, let's all party. So it doesn't mean that that's how it's going to be. So still when we're looking at the market, at some point here in the near future, one of these levels will break free. It will either break through that 50, trade back to the 270s, maybe work its way up to 280s, or it eventually gives it out. Again, I have absolutely no idea which way it's going to go. So if you're looking at longs or shorts or whatever it may be, I'd have to say you got to pay very close attention to what happens here on Monday. Big deal what happens on Monday if it's able to follow through with this. And if there is going to be any upward momentum, will it be consistent, free of extreme wipeouts? And will it be able to get over the 50? If it continues to retrace this move immediately on Monday or Tuesday, you get back down to that 200. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it this time, but you know what I'm thinking. Now let's move on to a series of a few stocks here. Got some ideas I want to share with the group that may make you a little bit of coins. Now, there were a lot of charts that confirmed some nice breakouts. Now, I've got maybe, let's say, 50-50 interest on these because I'm not sure the market's even going to hold. If it does, I got a plan. If it doesn't, I have a plan for that. So like I said in that video last week, you know, I trade accordingly. So, you know, I can be mentally wrong, but not financially wrong. So let's talk about Netflix. Netflix has been in the hole here a little bit. And I say hole against its peers because it's been going down, it's been weak. And against some of these other ones that have been running, it just hasn't done a whole lot. But Friday, you got a nice range break. It has basically been struggling since April 26th with this range. It's above the 10 and the 20, and it broke free there at about 318. I think it's about 318.50 area. And now it sits here at at 320. Again, you just can't go bonsai Monday and think, okay, we broke these ranges, these things are going up, because we've seen a lot of range breaks that just haul ass the other way. We need a little bit of, I can't guarantee it's going to happen, obviously. I'd like to see some stabilization in the market if it's going to make another run. I mean, just a little bit of consolidation, some tight pattern formation, some consistency in it. But I think if this thing can hold, the market builds and can cross the 50, Netflix has the type of potential to get you back into the highs. You got two pieces of resistance now on this chart, 329.50 and 336s. You have substantial up space in this chart for a nice trade. Again, it's difficult to buy it late on a Friday after all that's been through and just on one day's merit. You're going to need a little bit more data here, but if this thing holds up, you got a good looking chart going up there. Now, all these other FANG names are going to be the same. Facebook, here's another one. You know, building a pretty tight flag. It's holding up its earnings gapper. You've got 177.36 right here on tap. If you're a day trader, this is a pretty good looking one, because if you follow that line, if you see, look at that chart, guys. Look at that chart right down at the bottom. If you follow that line, that's a gap down opening from the 19th of March. Look at that. You see that? I mean, look, that's a hell of a lot of resistance right there. Tapped it the other day, but came through. If this thing can build, press through that 177.30s, you know, you're free and clear to fill back in this void back here to 184.80s. You know, I'm not saying it's going to be an all-time high, big ripper, but you day traders, there's some money right there on the table ready to be made if this thing can tighten up and go. Again, market has to play a big role in this. We've seen a lot of wipeouts and a lot of fake outs lately, but keep your eye on those levels. Same will go for NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA got an upgrade and they have earnings, so you'll have to pay attention to it. NVIDIA already had a range break. This is what we're talking about, range breaks. You look down here, you have like this double top right back here from the 24th of April over to the 27th. You see it cleared that on Thursday, and it just ripped right through it. And now you're back up above the 50 and you're touching this resistance area. Another stock that could build and run back up to 250 if it's strong. Again, if you're going to see selling off, you might see a little taper into earnings on this one. It's a pretty big move, but we'll have to watch. It's also sitting here at a pretty good area. So most of these FANG names I do like. I want to throw in something here for a short. Is Jose Cuervo. Look at this thing. Just launching right off the bottom after earnings. This thing's gone from like 68.50 to 78.80s, actually 79.50s up there. Look at a big rip. And you got some resistance right here. If you look at this right here on the 316, 81.78. I think if this thing shoots up, we see some bullish activity, especially if the first move, I should say this, if the first move is going to be monstrous. Let's say everybody just feels like this is the rally of all rallies. I'm buying. If crap starts going vert everywhere, these candles are tall, stuff's pressing up range, you know, Netflix is up $18 or crap like that, then I'm definitely looking at shorting. Absolutely would look at shorting at that point, because then it's just people are just chasing stuff. That's what I would do. But, you know, we'll see what happens. If this thing can gap, not gap, but just run up to 81.78 with a little bit of speed and momentum, I think you got yourself a short here. So as we kind of wrap this up, yet again, though, we still are at pivotal levels. Now we're back to thinking about the 50. And I really did think that if we lost the 200 moving average, man, I thought we were going to just school it on down. And market showed its willingness, its strength by stepping up. And that's the only piece of data I have is, man, Friday they hit that 200 moving average again, and it was like, stop it, we're moving away from there, and they're jamming up to 50. So at some point, it'll tighten up and it'll get rid of one of those areas. We'll eventually figure that out. But we have a handful of good things. These FANG names, Netflix, Facebook, NVIDIA, all look good for higher prices, but I think you're going to need a little push from the market. And who knows, maybe Apple's got something in there as well. That chart's that's quite a big move for that on Friday. So it's going to need to be, a little bit of back testing is going to have to come into that. So we got these names that are looking good. We'll see if the market can rally. And Cuervo for a short. So if you need help, you guys know where I'm at. I want to thank you for watching this week's editions of Market Mutterings. If you have comments or suggestions, send me an email, support@thelincolnlist.com. Trade well this week, and until next week, take care.